Welcome back. I am here with RNG's Uzi, and you and RNG have just been on this golden road this year, winning every single tournament that the team has ever participated in, and now all that's left is to win Worlds. So what makes you think that you and the team can really pull it off?
其实我们可以看到，今年 RNG 特别的顺利，赢得了所有重要的比赛。那么现在只剩下一个世界总冠军了。那想问一下你，你们今天要做到什么样子可以得到这个冠军？
就是希望我们队伍能够就是越打越好吧，因为其实第一场的比赛也没有发挥出全部的实力嘛，就是希望我们能够放平常心去迎接下面的比赛。
I just hope that we can play better and better. For the first game we just played. We didn't perform up to 100%. We just want to keep consistent and perform better.
Well, kind of speaking to that, everyone this year on the team has really taken a step forward and kind of improved themselves. So with everyone taking that step, would you say, is this the best version of RNG that we've seen?
就今年我们可以看到 RNG 除了你，其他队员都也表现得非常好，所以说你会觉得现在这样状态的 RNG 会是最强的 RNG 吗？
我觉得这也是我待过最强的一支队伍吧，因为大家也是一起有打过世界赛了，也有拿过世界型的冠军了，就是很多东西都已经尝试过了，我觉得就会让我们更加有力量去进步，就是会变得越来越强。
So this is the strongest roster I've ever been on. So with this roster, we won so many championships. We won World Championship. So with this team, I think this is really strong team. I'm really happy to be on it.
And are there any other AD carries participating in Worlds here this year that you think would be a good challenge to go against or that you would want to play against?
那么这次世界赛有没有哪个 ADC 你特别想跟他打，就或者说你觉得有点挑战性跟他打？
我觉得其实，在现在看来，我觉得每个 ADC 其实实力都挺强的，就因为也有看到比赛中有非 AD 的英雄嘛，都发挥得非常好。我觉得我对每个 ADC 都是非常期待和他们交手。
So I think all the AD carries in this tournament are pretty strong, and we also see some, off picks, hammerdingers such as they're not like regular or traditional AD carries. So I mean, all the AD carries are pretty good, and I'm expected to play. I'm really excited to play against all the AD carries.
Well, Uzi, thank you so much and congratulations again. That's it for us here. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Avli. A modest response when you just built a 2K gold lead in 10 minutes against your opposing ADC. Like, everyone here
Everyone's really good. If we can just keep
I feel like
it's quo.
I feel like it'll be a good competition no matter who I play against. Yeah. I'll just stop everyone equally as hard, I guess, is what that really means. We're just minutes away from our final game. The reigning world champions, Gen.G, formerly Samsung Galaxy, versus Vitality from the EU.
And this is why I took the field, because I've been hot on Gen.G when they were Samsung Galaxy in 2016. This is a team that if they get a team fighting meta, they are able to play multiple stages of the game, like nearly flawlessly, to be honest. And whilst they've had some ups and downs, they always kind of had in the LCK, when it gets to Worlds, they do seem to find that next gear, and being able to play well in big moments is something this team excels at and crucial to winning world titles.
And you can see similarities between last year and this year in the fact that they didn't look super great in the regular season, but did turn it on for the Gauntlet and have a patch that feels like it could suit them very well. Ruler has been a star for them this year. CuVee did start turning it on as top lane pressure and top lane priority can be very important. So we'll see if they can do it again.
Yeah, they've got time to ramp up. Ramping up is exactly what they did last year, even within the tournament itself, from groups to the knockout stages. Their opponents, though, are the second seed coming out of EU. This is Vitality. They qualified off of points. Exactly, but new to this international stage.
Very young squad, helmed by Yamato Cannon. They're hot, tempered, early game, pretty crazy with the champion pools. I don't want to call them champion pools, we're going to call them champion oceans. It makes them incredibly flexible. They're usually known around their mid lane. Jiizuke, the Italian stallion, I'm sure you've heard it a million times over the EU LCS.
Yep.
I don't think he's playing to perfection right now, or at least not as high as he could be, but I think the rest of his team has kind of really picked up the slack where he has slipped back just a little bit.
Yeah, for the people that are hopeful about this team, it's based on their early game, how they're boomer bust, however you want to call it, coin flip. If they have a great early game, you wonder if they could beat anyone. It's in the late game where they've struggled. It's with reliability that they have struggled. But once Kikis came in halfway through the season, the team did hit another gear. It's just a matter of trying to sustain that type of success against the defending world champions.
And there is a big thing to say about playing freely on the world stage in game number 1 when you are a massive underdog. And I'm not going to say that's their only hope of winning because they do have strengths in other part of their roster. But I do think this is a lineup that can actually, take a lot of experience from this game. They're playing the most challenging opponent probably in their first game, and then look to see how they need to adapt as this Worlds goes on, because they are a team that does adapt game to game quite well.
And we say it all the time that there's kind of these teams that have nothing to lose, especially when there's no expectations on them. And I think if anyone actually did fit this idea of being like the misfits of this year, I would actually put it on Vitality. And I think they're a very heavy momentum-based team. If you watch them prepare for games, they go into this little huddle, they like to scream and shout. They're a very explosive team to watch just in their emotions that they showcase. There's that very famous picture of Jiizuke, as he qualifies himself for Worlds. So I think that if they find wind here, if they find momentum, this is a team that very quickly can get out of control that other teams might not expect.
It is a very Yomada-led team in that regard. Like, having hung out with the dude a fair amount, he isn't afraid to say, this is the part of the game that we will index on. This is the curveball we will throw. And you should believe in it as a team that it is going to work, because that's kind of like how he's just built his whole persona around.
I was going to say, you and I have had the benefit of working with the guy closely, and so we very much know that mindset of Yamato Cannon, and then therefore it is no surprise to see that a team led by him plays in this manner.
And as a leader, he's not afraid of hard work, I will say as well. And this team does look incredibly coached in the regard of when they do play those team comps that are a little bit different, they look very practiced at them.
Very young team with a tough task ahead of them. I think that's kind of what I'm looking at here, is you have one of the most experienced and practiced rosters on the world stage with 2-time finals visits and a 1-time defending champ up against 3 players that just came out of the challenger scene.
Absolutely. As far as the history of these teams, it's completely lopsided. And you're wondering as well, is this group going to be interesting, or did we just see the 2 Titans defeat the 2 wannabes if this happens? Because we saw Cloud9 get absolutely decimated in that last game. Vitality wants to show up here against Gen.G.
Yeah, they certainly do, but it's going to be hard because Gen.G play in a way that, Crown is going to play very conservatively. He's going to try and stifle you. Ruler does a similar thing. They scale into the late game well. They are a team that, I think if you're inexperienced against that kind of play, people that are willing to see it a little bit and then come online, it can be very frustrating because you're like, why won't they just fight me back? And I think that, in the top lane, CuVee's always been that kind of rock as well. So I'm interested to see how a young lineup does deal with that.
So perhaps an already lopsided matchup sounds even more so when you talk about the styles of the 2 teams.
Yeah, and where I'm going to draw most of my attention is actually going to be in the top lane between Cabo and CuVee, because we've now seen 2 games in a row today where Licorice and Wonder actually had very good laning phases against incredibly solid international top laners. So if they're going to turn it somehow, a lot of it would have to be on Cabochard having an individual performance to take over top lane.
Could absolutely be up there in the top lane. Another thing to talk about with that Vitality squad is simply the journey of them throughout their split. The idea of being a 5-5 team, replacing your jungler, and then going 7-1 on the back half, add the 2 tiebreakers to go 9-1 to close out your regular season on quite an upswing. But of course, with that, you're always kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. And on a world stage with young players, how do you deal with losses if they come? How do you deal with a play style that you're not used to coming up against? Hey, normally I'd have a kill by now. Normally I would have that 1v1 advantage. I'm not finding it here against this guy, and now I'm lost.
I mean, you just play with the nameplates off. And again, I think we have to go back to Yamato Cannon. We do know him very well. We have him on the desk. You watch Vitality play. You watch how excited that they can carry through with those emotions. And you just have to say, no one expects anything from us. It's almost like a victory lap that we're here anyway. But I don't even think Vitality think about that. Just every interview that you've heard from this team, they want blood. They're like sharks and they see it in the water. And I don't think the fact that they're looking across from Gen.G, former world champions in Samsung, is going to scare them.
No, I don't think so as well. And I think that, that's one of the benefits of being young and having confidence and being able to throw those different strategies. I think they're going to attack it in a way of, this is what we're going to run this game when we get the pick ban. If it doesn't work, all right, put that one in the bin. This is the next one. Let's take that next step forward. Let's play for our composition. Let's not play against them, because if you do that at the start, you're kind of doomed to lose, especially with a team like Gen.G. Just to go back to it even further, that slow, drawn-out, methodical control style. If you start playing to that tempo and you're not used to it, which the Vitality lineup is not, it's going to be a rough game.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Gen.G, the introduction, the warm introduction to the home crowd there, up against Vitality. Again, this idea that you have reigning world champions against 3 I just can't imagine that being my first game on a world stage, let alone having a first game on a world stage.
It's going to be tough. I think Gen.G has all the momentum in this one.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of if they can avoid having a slow start like they may have had last year in the group stage.
Alrighty, well, as we go to game 6, Vitality's mid laner Jiizuke recounts his feelings after the group draw.
We were all watching together and I was just laughing so hard. I was like, Flame was picking up the name and I saw a thing of Vitality going and I was just laughing. I'm like, I have to play against RNG that beat everyone this year, won everything, and the last world champion. And they, I don't know, they made a song about ambition, like, you know? So, yeah, just, I was laughing and then after I came to reality and I'm like, this will be a hard group, for sure.
They may have made a song about ambition, but today may be Vitality's time to rise. They definitely have a challenge before them in having to take on Gen.G, formerly Samsung, that are, of course, the current world champions.
Yeah, and I just want to, talk very quickly about Jiizuke right here. We just heard from him. He said he was just laughing when he saw they got put into this group. And I can confirm this man will laugh non-stop. He's constantly happy, walking around talking about how he doesn't care who he's facing. He just wants to play League of Legends against the best players in the world and show that he can actually match them. So this Vitality team, they're not going to be scared.
And one thing we haven't touched on is we have to remember that the contribution to the song is the only contribution Ambition will make today because Haru is starting in the jungle. He was the 6th man, looked a bit bemused as his teammates were celebrating their World Championship crown. Gen.G are only the 2nd org after SK Telecom T1 to ever defend a world title. SKT did it twice. Gen.G begin their first ever title defense today.
Well, Team Vitality will try to put their world's machine off to a slow start here. See if maybe they can slow that roll a little bit. We're into Champion Select, and it's Sion, Irelia, and Kindred banned out by Gen.G as Vitality will ban out Xayah and Aatrox.
Kindred was the best champion for Kikis back in the EU LCS. That's why they take it away. Vitality, they love to be on red side. They're built around counter-picking for Kikis so he gets a superior jungle matchup, and then trying to get a winning bot lane setup for Attila and Jactroll. If they get that, they can make a lot of plays in the early game.
The Aatrox spanned away. Urgot, the first pick that comes out here, happy to give up the Kai'Sa. Roller has traditionally been on very much laning dominant AD carries. Gen.G love to counterpick the 2v2. They got a perfect chance here, and they're going to begin with CoreJJ's ultimate comfort in the Tahm Kench.
Well, Team Vitality decide they want to start off with Kai'Sa and Alistar together. Kai'Sa, one of those champions that we normally think about scaling. We think about her wanting to let the game go on for a little bit, but on a team like Vitality that normally wants to draft a strong bottom lane for their duo, it might not be the same thing they normally play for, as they will be going up against the Ashe along with the TK.
And it's only the 2nd Ashe of Worlds if you include the play-in stage, heavily deprioritized, but ultimate comfort for Ruler. He's already played 16 games of Ashe. People have dropped this pick. Gen.G gonna stick with it. Looks like they're setting up for 1-3-1 from their 3 picks.
Yeah.
As we look on the side of Vitality, they've already got their top lane.
It's a bit different from Vitality, as you highlighted already, Captain Flowers, with the more scaling bottom lane. I actually thought if we were gonna see innovative picks coming out of Vitality, it would mainly be from Jactroll, try and get like a superior winning bot lane. But in this case here, they are building a lot for team fights, which is not how they won games in EU.
And I also want to challenge the idea of Gen.G just being the shield at all times, because I think that is conditional on Ambition being in there, the world champion from last year. Haru's best champion so far this season is the Camille. In the LCK, Camille doesn't get the work done and gets outscaled. He's 4-0 on the pick, and they might actually pack a punch with a 2nd round jungle pick.
And that's why I think starting Haru here is just such a smart play from Gen.G, because Ambition is a little bit too slow in a lot of his games.
And a lot of his
Kikis.
champions are nerfed at the moment.
It's also very true. So like a jungler like Kikis would love to deal with Ambition, but Haru can actually match the early game aggression that we will most likely see. Notice how Vitality have saved the jungle pick. This is something they like to do again to try and get a last pick for them. There's actually a legit chance we're gonna get a blind pick mid into then a last pick jungle for Kikis.
Be risky to go for the old Jiizuke favorite of the Rise, because Malzahar and Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz is bad.
We get Nocturne.
The Rise still going to be available. Yeah, he goes for the jungle pick. First Nocturne of group stage here. Looking to just assassinate Ashe. Let's go on the side of Gen.G. Going to need to see a mid laner soon.
But of course, it is difficult to assassinate a target that does have a hungry Tahm Kench, always waiting around to devour her to safety. We'll see the Gragas locked in on the side of Gen.G here with one more pick to go for that mid lane. Syndra, you guys already mentioned how blind pick Syndra would be something we would see a lot throughout the course of the tournament, and Gen.G goes for it here.
LeBlanc is left open, however. That's normally the ban we see when teams want to blind pick Syndra. It is something Jiizuke can play. He has a lot of setup with Ornn ulti and Nocturne ulti as well to try and go for more kills once we get a bit later into the game.
And backline access and just access to an immobile threat is there in spades for Vitality. We see Alistar, Ornn, the Nocturne all going to get them. This is going to be a mid lane Ekko on the side of Vitality.
So this is actually one of the picks that he brought out as one of his comfort picks when he wanted to play, especially in Spring Split, this very split push heavy style. Ekko is one of the best mages in a side lane because he's so annoying due to his mobility and upfront burst damage he can deal in a 1v1. It is very much a Jiizuke pick, but not something we've seen in a long time.
It's an old pick into the Syndra because you can ult through the Syndra ult to get your health back, and you can say categorically, like Deficio's alluding to, when you hit the side lane, Syndra's there very much reluctantly. She wants to be in mid lane, access to blue buff and wave clearing, whereas in a long lane, Ekko's chase pressure makes him really annoying to face.
And I like the fact that they went for the comfort. I like the fact that they went for the throwback, something unusual, something to change things up a little bit going up against a team the caliber of Gen.G. Don't play what's expected. Don't play what they think is probably going to be the best thing against them. Play your game. We already saw Europe pick up a win with it earlier. We already saw them take down a Korean team by playing their game earlier. Now Vitality wants to do the same thing, and they're saying Ekko's the pick we'll do it with.
Yeah, and when you have these kind of drafts where you're packing so much engage, so much backline threat, there's a high chance if you have a good early game that you just snowball completely and you can just keep forcing on the other team. It is not what I fully expected from Vitality. I thought we were going to get different picks down in the bottom lane, but they've gone for what is considered very strong right now, of course, with Kai'Sa, Alistar. The Nocturne and the Ekko, they are kind of the two picks that could be a little bit surprising, especially Ekko specifically. I want to see if Jiizuke on this champion can do what he used to do and actually take down a Syndra.
Jiizuke on the Ekko. We'll see if he can put those carry pants on and bring Europe up to a 2-0 day against Korea on day one of main stage groups here at Worlds. It's the last game of the day. Gen.G coming out of the blue corner, your reigning world champions, going up against Vitality in the red. Their first appearance at Worlds. Tough opponent to start things off with, but hey, you pick up a win here. It definitely says something about this young, hungry, ferocious roster trying to make their mark as Ruler finds the very tip of the volley there onto Attila.
And we're going to hear this a lot, you know, the young Vitality roster. I think it is important to highlight that it is a mix, however, of veterans and young players. Jiizuke, Attila, and Jactroll are all rookies coming into 2018. They came from Giants when they qualified into the LCS and then swapped over to Vitality. Kikis and Cabochard, however, if you don't follow European LCS too much, these guys are veterans. They've been here for many, many years. Kikis was a pro, or tried to be a pro player in 2010 already, and was part of like WCG. Cabochard has been in the EU LCS since 2014 when he was subbing in for Gambit and then became the starting top laner later. So these guys have been here for a long, long time.
And meanwhile, on the other side, Gen.G are the first team ever to defend their crown with the same entire roster. The same 6 men are there. Haru starts, Ambition on the bench. They are a team that has not found regular season success, but World Championship play has always been when they have been dominant. They are back-to-back finalists, they are reigning champions, and they're definitely causing a lot of pressure, but Ruler had to flash.
That was a super early flash. There's not even a combo available for the Alistar, and it looks like the game has been paused.
Yeah, Alistar is only level 1.
Yeah.
You definitely don't need to be too scared of a headbutt, even if you get hit by the wall right after. Early pause here.
It looks like the pause is due to a keyboard issue. They're investigating that right now. We'll figure out exactly what's going on and hopefully get back into game sooner than later. But yeah, Gen.G coming back. You were talking about this team and how things aren't always all sugar and rainbows for these guys. It's not like being the reigning world champion means, oh yeah, we're just going to cruise all over everybody, steamroll everything, come in first seed, wipe everybody out. They are the 3rd seed from Korea this time around.
It's the surreal thing about Gen.G, former Samsung Galaxy. They were KSV actually in the spring season, so a couple of name changes. Still they are the
Only a
defending
couple.
world champions, and still there is that bizarre scenario where when it comes to playoffs, when it comes to regional play, they've never even finished third, let alone make the semi-final. They've always been struggling far away. But the Worlds buff, which is usually kind of just a mysticism you throw out there when you don't really know what's going on, we can't really explain how players like CuVee can just be on the tanks in the regular season, out of nowhere, be dominant threats when the Worlds is on the line.
The keyboard issue was with Jactroll. It has been resolved. We're back into the game now, but remember, that was a very, very, very early flash from Ruler. Not normally what you expect, but it's Summoner Spell down now with a 5-minute cooldown. That means it'll be about 7 minutes before that's up again. As Jiizuke down to 300 HP here in the mid lane. Crown gets a couple more autos.
Luckily for Ruler, we are waiting for Kikis level 6 before we expect him to do a whole lot, but
yeah.
I want to quickly go back to the story of Gen.G here in the summer split in the LCK. When the gauntlet started and the first match, the wildcard match, the BO3, they had to play against the FLICKR. When you listen to you, Papa Smithy and Valdez, talking about how, well, they were favorites coming into the game, but they got 2-0. They looked abysmal in that series, and it was like, okay, these guys are not even going to make Worlds. But then in the gauntlet run, how they managed to pick it up when it really matters, Crown re-enters with the lineup and actually plays really well. That was a big deal for the team.
I mean, Crown played the dominant amount of games of his entire summer season in the actual regional gauntlet. He played 3 games in the regular season with Fly, who was over in North America in spring, coming over to Gen.G and playing in summer. It's his combination with Haru where I feel like Gen.G actually get the big value out of Crown. As a duo, they were so impressive a year and a half ago in spring season of 2017. As a duo, in a meta where ambition doesn't fit, Haru comes in, and to me, he was the big star of their rise as ambition struggled to make the meta picks work there.
And speaking of them as a duo, it's not just Crown that played most of his games recently, it's Haru as well that played almost all his games so far in the gauntlet. This guy has been getting more of that recent experience. Like you said, the shift in the meta away from the ambition champion pool, away from the Trundle and the Sejuani that he likes to play so much, is much more suited to what they want to do here with Haru. On this Gragas so far, hasn't found anything just yet. Will make his way into mid lane there to grab level 4 off of that minion and help Crown shove things out.
So far, nice start for Vitality's bottom lane, obviously forcing the flash, or Ruler kind of forced his own flash in that little trade. Jiizuke, he's playing 1v2 right now, playing very aggressive, knowing Crown has no mana. But he wants to get his level 6, then he's fine. Same thing in the bottom lane with the Kai'Sa, and you can start setting up plays with Alistar, Kai'Sa together. The fact they're not getting shoved in by Tahm, Kench, Ashe in the early game is great for Vitality. And now Kikis can just farm for level 6. He doesn't need to do anything before that.
Bottom side, Vitality will push in their opponents. Kikis hanging around down here, but early turret dive, especially with Haru.
Oh, Haru's
close is not the best idea. Kikis forced to retreat now as Gen.G will threaten the collapse and get the flash for free.
And that's just extremely unnecessary by Kikis right here. Like, his own procs are alive, and they don't need help bot lane right now against the no-flash Ashe. But he wanted to go forward, did not expect Gragas to walk around, and the moment the Gragas showed up, the wave had already pushed back, and he got collapsed.
And the theory from Kikis is that most junglers who go for the Predator will go for a back before they buy boots and then take the Krugs. I think he was playing around expected pathing. It was actually Gragas with no shop, just walking to the bot side and taking his Krugs, going for a full clear. That seemed to surprise him, but like I agree with you, the best you come away with is a Krug steal. It didn't necessarily feel worth it.
Bottom side, Jactroll wants to go in here. Ruler gobbled up. That's just what we were talking about. That's why you draft Tahm Kench with these immobile AD carries. Keep him safe.
I just want to highlight that Haru just recalled.
He can't even use his Predator.
He didn't buy boots.
No.
Yep, that's a no Keystone Gragas. Don't have a shoe.
That's probably the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. He really wanted that book.
It's ambition style. He wants to farm the jungle farm.
Sure. I mean, screw your Keystone, I guess.
You've got a book. Who needs a Keystone when you've got a book? Elementary school teachers would be happy with the emphasis on reading, but Crown takes a lot of damage there with Jiizuke now going aggro still here on the Ekko, has the chrono break available.
Exactly, now he's super safe because when he goes in against Crown, if Crown wants to unleash his ulti towards him, Jiizuke can just ult himself and he will never die 1v1, and that is the key thing for him. Top lane CuVee is of course pushing in and winning against Cabochard, but that's an Ornn. His entire job is to take a beating and then land some good ultis.
Haru in the mid lane, looking to find the gank here onto Jiizuke, who goes into the chrono break, looking to make some kind of an outplay here. Instead, just gonna be bursted, flashes over the wall, and Crown says, see you later. First blood over to Gen.G, as Vitality put their attention in the Ocean Drake. Needs a little bit more damage. Void Seeker will do just that. Haru tries to throw out the cast. Nice spell shield coming out from Kikis, but it will not be enough as CoreJJ uses Ignite to secure the kill. Jactroll now tries to get away, but a swift tongue from CoreJJ is going to keep him slowed down. A little bit more might be enough to take him out. Haru goes forward with the body slam, and there's the lick for the third kill.
Now that is a hungry Tahm Kench. CoreJJ with the double kill. So much to talk about because the play is so extended. When we get the replay, we can comment specifically on how Crown played that. The key to dealing with the Ekko is you have to ult early, otherwise it's just going to negate all the damage. Jiizuke cancels out the damage from the ultimate, but it puts him so close to Crown's turret.
And Jiizuke was so aggro there.
Well, the thing is, he obviously knew that if he tries to just run out, Haru could still try and get him, but that might still be the better play to try and flash towards your turret here. What happens, however, is this is kind of Vitality drafting a lot of actually scaling. Like a jungler wants to farm for 6, a bot lane that doesn't really want to fight early, and then they try to take the Ocean Drake. And with the mid laner dying, this just backfires completely.
And the back end of that Acer Predator replay really shows off how well Gen.G was able to clean up everything. Even though they lose the Drake, they punish Vitality, and they come out way ahead in terms of kills and gold.
But I mean, you just look at it on very simple terms. The mid laner pushes up and looks to pressure a melee champion while they're taking a Drake. They're trying to do too many things, and that's why they face the ultimate punishment. Jactroll wants to Hex Flash over when it's a minion wave here, but he really wants to go in.
Vitality just does not know the meaning of pumping the brakes. It's time to go! Over the wall he goes. Headbutt, can't find the pulverize. Dive goes in anyway. Kikis with the CC, and the damage comes through for Jiizuke. Now can CoreJJ find one in retaliation? The tongue into the stun, into the spit, and they've got the kill. CoreJJ goes in a killing spree.
Kench once more!
Jiizuke tries to get himself away, but that hungry catfish frog, whatever he is not going to allow it today. CuVee comes around from the side. Chrono break right back underneath the turret. Jiizuke's got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. He can't get away, and the kill credit goes to CuVee.
So Vitality, whenever they fall behind, they just keep forcing plays. That's their way back into the game here. They end up being really late with this setup, so CoreJJ reads the situation and gets the ulti into mid lane, even through the Nocturne ult itself, and that's why he shows up and gets a bunch of kills in return, and actually blocks Jiizuke as well from getting out.
CoreJJ has to sully his name with an assist, though. No 4-0 from the support role. Jiizuke, he's just buying time. There's no way to get out of this play. He doesn't have flash. His ult's not going to be enough to work through. Nice little ult there, actually, that make him take turret aggro. It's going to be academic, but for once, he shows restraint and gives the kill over to CuVee.
And this is where we very quickly get the, we call Vitality the boom or bust team. We're definitely getting the bust right now.
I think we're getting some chaos style here at the Fischio.
They are trying to play aggressive, but they don't always have enough damage this early in the game with their draft. And here with CoreJJ kind of reading the situation, it just stopped Vitality from getting a free kill mid. And it's looking pretty rough all of a sudden with 5 kills for Gen.G.
And look at Jactroll's items. He's got mobility boots already. He wants to roam around more on the Alistar, try to set things up with the jungler and the mid laner. The bottom side of the map, Ruler still falling behind a little bit in terms of farm versus Attila, which is a good sign there for the side of Vitality. As Crown over the wall thinks about maybe doing something here. Has the orbs ready to go. Throws one over the wall, finds the stun. Looks for a little bit more damage. Electrocute goes off the arrow. So well placed. Gen.G, what a shot.
That was so beautifully put together over time. As the play started, Crown is putting down spheres at his foot, so he has the spheres there for ultimate damage. Everything connects, and Kikis goes to the death chamber, not knowing for how easy and how straightforward that was for Gen.G.
That was exactly what you want to see out of your Ashe pick, as now topside, Cabochard summons the Ornn Horn to put some damage and some CC there onto CuVee, who has the Ghost used from Summoner's Spellbook. As back into the mid lane, it's business as usual with Jiizuke on aggro against Crown. Recognizing the fact that Syndra ultimate is not available, he knows he can go in for some of those aggressive plays, but Haru is hanging around nearby, walks over the control ward, so Jiizuke knows he's near.
Oh, Kikis gets spotted right there. This Ashe pick, so much control on the map from Ruler. You're now 0-2 as your Nocturne. Your first ulti got you an assist, but then you died. You then died after in the river. This next ulti, it needs to work, because Nocturne is one of the junglers where if he falls behind, he really offers very little.
He's just a squishy missile that goes in and tries to assassinate, but if you don't have the money to assassinate, you just kind of turn into a feed wagon. And the problem is, even though you pick the Nocturne, seeing the Ashe, saying, okay, immobile AD carry, let's assassinate him, let's get this guy, this is the counter pick. Ashe also has the ability to counter the Nocturne by spotting him out with those well-placed hawk shots, shutting down the ability that he has to work around wards and find those long-range engages with the ganks.
Camp respawn time is so long that just knowing which camps are up or down gives you a very good idea which map quadrant the Nocturne is, and even his ability to lane gank isn't going to be as reliable if you know which side the map he's on. The funny thing about the draft is they doubled down, took Syndra, and you think Jiizuke in a side lane pushing turrets, and then the threat of so much long-range engage onto Syndra and Ashe in a more even game could actually be a very reliable 4-1 win condition for Vitality.
Yeah.
They've kind of been the architects of their own demise by giving away all this gold from, I guess you would call it, undisciplined play.
I mean, I think that's very fair to say, and it's kind of the idea around the draft with the Ekko and Nocturne, and what we're actually seeing now is something we only got to see at the end of the summer split in the third place game against Misfits, the one that gave Vitality that second seed, so they went to Worlds, where they started to go back to playing around Jiizuke. For all of summer split, apart from that series, it was Jiizuke and roaming champions. It was Jiizuke just constantly pushing lane and roaming either top or bot lane, trying to make plays happen. But he returned to the carry style, which he's trying to do now with the Ekko pick, and that's why Kikis is around his lane. But it's also stopping Kikis from playing his style, which is invade. Get the enemy jungler to sit without any camps on the map and get full control. You can't really do that with the Nocturne, especially not when behind. So it's a shift in style from Vitality, and so far in this game, while they are farming very well, they've given over too many kills.
I mean, we saw the one invade from Kikis at level 3 or 4 towards the Krugs that just cost him his own flash. That plan that Vitality likes to rely on has not come to fruition here so far in this game. They're down 1-6. They do have the Ocean Drake, but honestly, that's about it. Kikis will look for the engage here on the top side with the ultimate. A TP is going to be used as well to make sure they can try and secure this one. The damage comes in. Attila's there just to make sure, but Cabochard grabs the kill.
And that's kind of the best play for them here, because they know bot lane they will lose the turret. Also with Crown constantly roaming down, so they're just going to swap the map around and they get something for Attila.
I mean, if you rewind to the previous game where I said, what about getting rid of the Kai'Sa out of a difficult laning phase and attacking the Shen? It's actually Vitality in this game that understand the control wards are down. The mid is rotating. They cannot stay bot lane. They have to vacate it one way. Why not vacate it with a kill, a turret, and maybe a Rift Herald of your own?
Let's see if Tahm Kench ulti will be used here to get in and try and stop the Rift Herald. Crown is hovering towards the side as well. CoreJJ is here now, but I think Vitality just have enough time to kill it and get out.
There we go. Eyeball picked up. Nobody's going to forget about that one today. Cask is going to knock Jiizuke back. Chrono break available, but his shadow's still a way away. Comes back right towards CoreJJ. Needs a little bit more to find any sort of a stun or devour, and Jiizuke gets out.
At this time, he holds the ulti in a more defensive position because he's just running further and further away from the shadow, so he can jump back towards the turret. In the end, that was 2 ultis used, actually 3, with also the Gragas ulti being blown. Nothing here from Jiizuke other than his own ulti.
Sort of champion that can make you look silly, that forces uneven trades of cooldowns. Is that Ekko? He continues to push, so you have to say, against the run of play, really nice overall play from Vitality. A kill, a turret, also taking away their weakness of the bot lane that was likely to be dived, and even getting the Rift Herald as well.
He's got the Proto Belt also completed on the Ekko there for additional wave clear. Also extra burst potential on a champion whose burst is honestly not that front-loaded with what's built into the kit itself. Cooler makes his way topside to answer the rotation there from Vitality, as both supports will also be hanging around.
Yeah, and we're not at the point yet in the game where Jiizuke really can carry. It's actually when he goes to the side lane later and Crown cannot follow. But they're still trying to get more kills around his lane. You can see how Cabochard and Kikis were both hovering around mid. Meanwhile, Attila's been farming extremely well. He has Rage Break completed. The problem is just CoreJJ is on 4 kills. And he can go wherever he wants.
That's Tahm Kench. He's going to run everybody down.
It's going to be enough to get him an early 6 convergence and help Ruler's damage going, but it's a map play here from Gen.G.
Crown's very low on mana. You can't have a super extended fight here immediately. The blue buff will keep that pool very high, giving him a little bit of time to build that up. But Vitality recognized the fact that He can't fire off that combo right now, so they'll be just fine clearing things out. Now they're deciding to go in. Tahm Kench keeping that AD carry protected yet again. He'll pay for it with his own life, most likely. Thick Skin coming in just in time. CoreJJ gets himself back over the wall, but Jiizuke pulls his card anyway. Crown's gonna be going into stasis now. Still might be in some trouble. Attila gonna be taken down. Crown with the damage on that one. CuVee grabbing the kill onto Jactroll into the follow-up fear. And Gen.G is destroying Vitality. Jiizuke tries to run, but he's running the wrong way into enemy territory. Does get out.
And what's very interesting here is a lot of teams, when they see a 5-man group mid, if they have wave clear, they won't move mid themselves to look for a fight. They'll just push out the side lanes and say, thank you very much, we take this farm. But Vitality instantly moved towards mid, said, we just need a fight. One combo from Jactroll, and it's on.
But usually, you dump so much damage into a Tahm Kench, you take him down a lot earlier. This Tahm Kench uniquely has so much gold. Even though this timing from Vitality is very fortuitous, they cannot kill the Tahm Kench for so long as the extra resources like Jiizuke having to flash over and spend so much time that Ruler, who has no peel and frontline anymore, is able to just move topside and CuVee does the rest.
Yeah, I really also like the flash there from Crown, buying a bit more time for himself to deal damage. But one thing I want to highlight, while it is a 3-for-2 trade in favor of Gen.G, Jiizuke got the shutdown kill on CoreJJ, who had 4 kills already. That's a ton of gold coming for the Ekko.
Shelly coming in the mid lane here, trying to take down that tier 1 turret. Won't quite get it. Also want to point out that in that fight, Ruler healed just as CoreJJ was down to some 10 HP sliver of health and kept him alive enough to pop the Thick Skin so he could get away there. Good job from him. Looking out for the support, not being selfish with the summoner spells.
If Tahm Kench dies there, then Jiizuke doesn't have to use any more resources to kill Tahm Kench and can turn on Ruler so much quicker. So I think Captain Flowers, that was actually very, very relevant in Gen.G actually winning the kill trade.
Now topside, Jiizuke on the Ekko, continuing to build up the damage. Sheen in the inventory means Lich Bane, a second big item here, means that much more front-loaded burst. Again, Ekko's burst is delayed. The Chrono Break does so much damage, but it's so hard to hit. You also only have the damage from the Q and the E. W does no damage itself. You've got to put these extra tools in there, and once he gets them, man, he hurts.
Yeah, I mean, you start building around getting multiple auto attacks off, proccing the passive and actually getting some bonus damage from that as well. But I think we saw in the last team fight, Gen.G started without all the members there, and they still managed to get 3 kills. It shows that their composition is built to fight, and as long as they don't die to the initial engagement Vitality, they have so much return damage from Ashe and the Syndra here. So it's all about just staying alive when the Nocturne comes in, and so far Gen.G have shown in this game they're not scared of Vitality's aggressive plays.
But I actually am really concerned about where this game could go from a Vitality perspective, because you just think about your life as Ruler and Crown. Let's say your summoner spell's down, you don't have Flash. Ornn ult comes out, the paranoia is popped, you see Alistar. That's a lot to already factor in, and you know already that we're going to see Lich Bane Ekko be pretty uncontested in the side lane. During all of that, if you get hit by the parallel convergence from a flank, that's another thing to consider. There's really so much threat that I feel like one of Crown and Ruler, if they get the drop on Gen.G, will die so quickly that might actually just tip the balance to the side of Vitality.
And with a composition that has a diving mid laner and a diving jungler, I really like Kai'Sa. Granted, I think she's the strongest AD carry in the game anyway, so she's always good, but it's time to dive, and Gen.G has lost their mid laner. Jactroll gets a 3-man knockup, and Vitality do not know how to stop just yet. Attila's gonna be taken low. Ruler misses the arrow. Vitality in retreat now. CuVee on the far line, looking to find a kill, but Jiizuke, the man with the plan, has the shutdown. CuVee now in retreat, but he's gonna be dropped as well. Vitality find 4 for 1.
Crown, you have one job. Stay with your team when you're dealing with the Nocturne, but he was split from the group. Vitality find him. We keep saying this, but they never stop. They will always engage.
And this is where the plan comes together, Deficio. There's so many things to respect that it doesn't matter if your support has all the cooldowns in the comms or in the chat. So watch the replay here. Consider what they know and what they don't know. Crown is actually posturing forward, looking onto Jiizuke, but there's so much guaranteed upfront burst that, like I mentioned, one carry is down instantly.
But the awesome thing about how this game is going to play out is we're going to get more and more of these engages and Gen.G will also find ways to try and defend more, because Haru will actually stay. I don't know why stop was there, but anyway, he will stay with his carries and can use his ulti defensively to again survive the all-in. But this time, with split up teams, Kikis and Vitality find the first kill. Jiizuke is fed on this Ekko. And we said early laning phase is not what it's all about with Ekko. It's the late game where you cannot stop him in a side lane.
So what I'm learning so far, gentlemen, from day one of main stage groups, Europe needs to pick comfort picks, and they can go toe-to-toe with Korean teams. Because the Heimerdinger from Ornn with G2, and now the Ekko from Jiizuke with Vitality has been putting in work. These unorthodox picks, this different style, this is what makes them have to reevaluate the way they play the game. And now CuVee needs to reevaluate what the hell he's doing here in this river. Gonna be on the defensive now, has to also be aware that he could fire off the ultimate, not give the chance. I'm pretty sure Jiizuke has no idea how to not play League of Legends aggressively. This man is always on the hunt, and he gets himself away. CoreJJ bringing up Haru, trying to chase him down, but he makes you look silly.
This is what he likes to do when he's ahead in the game. When he got into the spring split, we didn't know much about Jiizuke. We knew he was the first professional Italian player, and that was it. He played Ryze, he got leads, he went to side lanes, he 1v2'd Fnatic in side lanes against Caps, and he managed to get ahead and win games for his team as a split pusher. Now he's on the Ekko, we keep highlighting the mobility, and he's doing it against the defending world champion.
And what I know about Ekko is that if you see 4 members chasing him in a long lane, you cue the yakety sax music, you remember the Syndra, because if you chase down the Ekko, there's very, very little kill pressure on the side of Gen.G to actually cement that kill. And in the meantime, the Ornn whacks away on a turret, the gold continues to register. It's not a gold lead for Vitality, but they've already shown that if you walk alone on the side of Gen.G, something that Uzi never did in the previous game, you're going to be done pretty quick.
And Vitality has reached deep into their magic bag of tricks and pulled out some late game options with this draft, remember. Deficio, you already mentioned how Ekko is a late game champion. He's going to shine more in the late game. Kai'Sa, this pick where we talked about how Vitality normally wants to play for the lane with the bottom lane. Instead, they have this super scaling pick that's onto 2 items with the AP build. They will be able to hold their own against Gen.G as this game extends forward with a dead even gold score.
Now, a very important item has just been picked up by Crown. We didn't get to talk a lot about what he should build next, but Hourglass is so key against the Nocturne composition from Vitality. Obviously, it's not enough to only survive when you have the Hourglass, but it's going to help you a lot because Tahm Kench can only devour the 1 target. Gen.G, it's all about surviving, and Vitality, they're looking for the next big fight.
Vitality need to just keep hungry, keep looking for that blood, and I'm sure that will not be a problem here for this squad. Cabochard on the top lane, 2-0 and 3 there on the Ornn, and you can see the gold difference over time coming in. Gen.G's lead is shrinking as Vitality is going in yet again. Jactroll going into ulti mode here immediately. Gets himself out of the way in time. CuVee's going to be taken very low. Kikis can't quite find the damage. CoreJJ now going to be the target as he loses his AD carry. Ruler's out of the picture, and that means Vitality can continue pressing forward. Look at Crown goes into Resurrection with the Guardian Angel. Crown's coming around from the flank, but Vitality just go forward anyway. The weak will not be scattered, but Jactroll's going to be picked up. Jiizuke goes right back in. He has no concern for his own safety. The man goes back into the ulti, and he's got big damage. CuVee having to get himself back away as the Vitality dive will continue forward. Kikis throwing the turret aggro, goes on a rampage to take down that enemy top laner, and God bless it, Vitality are taking Gen.G down in the bottom lane.
Man, when Vitality find the fights, they look so good. They're so confident. They don't care who they're playing against. They dive past the turrets. Syndra shows up behind them. They don't try and run away from the turret. No, they just turn around and try and kill the Syndra.
That's because there's only ever one threat involved. You might see 3-4 members, only ever one damage threat, and they can never puncture through.
Yeah, Baron.
Everything there. You're right, Vitality turns onto them. They have a lot of Baron threat. Here we go.
Vitality has damage to take this down, but Gen.G is now trying to come to stop it. They don't have everybody here just yet. Jactroll's going to be running interference. Arrow popped out, Paranoia to keep them blind. Cabochard's going to be the one to secure it. Kikis already dead, though. How many does Vitality lose for this? Attila forced to flash over the wall, Cabochard as well. That was almost a troll, but it didn't happen, so it doesn't matter. Summoner's Spellbook for Cabochard. both summoner spells expended, and he gets out.
He was able to smite it with the unsealed spellbook, I believe. But let's remember what happened bot lane. Again, attack CuVee on this Urgot. They come in, they have the Ashe here. I was waiting to see when the W was used. CuVee out of the fight early, and even with the stasis here, Ruler was out of position.
And then the call is not, let's run away, let's get out of here, we got our kill. It's, wait, they're trying to fight us, we should just keep fighting. No one is dead yet on the side of Vitality because of the GA onto Kikis, and when Crown shows up to get the 1 kill, this is normally where teams will disengage.
4 beats 1, Odovicio.
Jiizuke is like jumping in at first, knowing his ulti is available, and this could have been such a huge ulti coming in, but I think the Devour just came in time.
Yup.
Still, he managed to take down CoreJJ. And I want to highlight something really, really important. One of the biggest problems for Vitality in Europe is taking Barons when it's a slow game.
Yes.
But when they get a fight first, into then an early Baron, they will just go for it. They will not hesitate. And that's exactly what just happened here. They have the Baron, they can get more turrets now.
8,000 damage in that last fight between the two big damage dealers on the side of Vitality. And this team that is making their first appearance at Worlds against the defending world champions is now 2,500 gold up with Baron on multiple members, pressuring onto the tier 2 turret here in the top side, looking to make something happen. Jiizuke getting himself back before more damage comes in from the Syndra. But Vitality has to close things out cleanly. They have to use this Baron buff well. We talked about this team being all early, struggling in the late game if they don't have a massive lead. CuVee's gonna be in some trouble. Jiizuke gets locked down, gets himself out using the chrono break, but Jactroll onto the front line, gonna be absorbing so much pain. Paranoia comes in, Kikis decides to go into the back line here as well. Still nobody gonna be dead on Gen.G. Pulled back into the grinder. CuVee grabs the kill as CoreJJ is gonna remain on the front line. CuVee goes in, he's able to find Attila now too, and Vitality is destroyed in this fight.
And this time, they went too far, and they got punished. One by one, they jumped in. Kikis waited and thought he could execute Crown, but CoreJJ gets the Devour in, and this is always the problem against a team like Gen.G.
Because they like to skip the steps to Fisher, and sometimes it works out big, but in this time, with a mostly melee comp and also the Kai'Sa, they think they can get some kills and just close the game from there. They're not able to do so, the dive doesn't work, and that's some important gold and some Barons taken away by Gen.G.
I feel like I practically jinxed it. Right as I'm saying, this team that is only known for early game needs to have a competent macro game to close things out. It falls apart, they overextend, the fight goes the way of Gen.G. Let's take another look.
So, turret is still alive, Jiizuke goes in, which then forces Jactroll to follow as well. But notice when Jiizuke jumps out, Jactroll's now left alone. Attila's hitting a turret. No one else is following up until Kikis jumps in and then the Devour is ready.
Let's consider a different fight where they take the turret and back away and they gave up Jactroll's life for the inner turret. Instead, they go further. They flash in from CuVee, still very tanky despite the low health bar. They were able to pick up some kills, get back some momentum. They need to start clearing vision, though, and cementing a position on the map, because the next time it won't be under a turret necessarily, and maybe the next time Vitality can assassinate one of Crown or Ruler.
But a fight where one of your guys is fighting and you don't all pile in does not seem very indicative that this is Vitality. This is a team that we said likes to scrap, a team that's always looking to fight. And that fight just
I mean, he was fighting a turret and the other ones were fighting.
I also want to point out 10-stack Medjai's Soul Stealer for Jiizuke. He's on the Ekko. He knows he has outplay potential. He knows he has escape potential. And he wants 25 stacks.
But we have to remember, when he's in the side lane, that's when he's actually strongest. Like, teamfight, sure, you can do really well on Ekko, but it is a lot harder to do it. In the side lane, that's why no one will stop you. The top lane tier 2 is still available, so they don't actually have to instantly run into the next 5 versus 5 teamfight. They can just use Jiizuke to get a turret first.
I mean, Ekko does a pretty good Camille impression when he starts hitting the turrets in this game. Baron buff power play was definitely shut down. The turret dive actually advantaged Gen.G there. But it doesn't change the state of the game, because we said from the draft onwards, Syndra wants to take blue buff and clear with her friends. She does nothing in the 1v1 here, as you'll see.
Jiizuke doing a masterful job predicting what Crown was up to and taking him down. Getting back out of the way of the arrow as well. There's 4 more stacks.
And we just said it, Jiizuke in the side lane, that's what you're looking for as Vitality, but Crown That was so greedy to just try and kill the wave. He realized very quickly he was going to get destroyed, and he didn't even use Side Him.
Yeah, Sonya's available, heal not available. Flash is now down as Vitality, with their Baron just expiring, allow Jiizuke to take another turret uncontested.
And Gen.G now stand 25 seconds until they have their mid laner back in this 4 versus 5 situation. Vitality playing the 1-3-1, or 1-1-3, I guess you would call it, with the 3 now in the bottom lane, having the Nocturne and the Ekko pressuring the other 2 areas of this base from Gen.G. Jiizuke takes down the tier 3 and top side.
And Crown just being greedy top lane and then not even using Hourglass just cost his team the inhib turret as well. He could have just stayed at the objective, waited for the minions, killed the minions, and then Jiizuke wouldn't have actually taken him down.
And if you think about the games that Crown and Haru were playing that did propel Gen.G to Worlds, Crown was largely on pure utility picks, the Lissandra. We were thinking this tournament, Lulu Karma, that's where he'd play. The famous story of the Syndra with Crown is a long one. In 2016, they had to ban it in Worlds because he couldn't play it. He played it very well in 2017, but it's not the utility pick so much, and the Ekko has done everything. Zhonya's is never used, he's taken down, and Crown and Haru just haven't been able to replicate that gauntlet run today.
I just love the fact that he's got parallel convergence down there. He reads it like a book. He says, nope, there could be somebody in this brush. And once there is, he is ready to go in that situation. 6, 3, and 6 on the Ekko. Still out farming his lane opponent. Stacks positive on the Medjai Soul Stealer with a needlessly large rod in inventory to complete the final
14 stacks, 14 kills. I'm sure some viewers at home are loving that. Very, very nice there. Very, very secure in how this thing is going. And the death cap is there too for the AP numbers. You saw how he needed that extra ability in the last time he tried to assassinate. Doesn't need it anymore.
No, that is a full build Ekko, if you count Medjai Soul Stealer as a full item. That is a full build Ekko for Jiizuke in the side of Vitality at 33 minutes. 616 AP.
And looks like we're gonna get a big team fight around the Baron. This could be the final one for Vitality. If they actually win that fight, they can run straight down and destroy the base in just a matter of seconds. But Gen.G winning a late game fight is all they need to just make sure the game keeps going.
And I want to draw your attention that Gen.G is winning on one area of the map. They have control wards aplenty around the Baron, 4 in the area, I believe, to try to ensure where this is going to be the field of battle. It has to be around here. Scuttle control for now on the side of Vitality, and Gen.G certainly are going to start it with Ornn, the Nocturne able to fly in, but they have to control areas of the map because so far this game has been disarray that has suited Vitality.
And as we're talking about Vitality and how they've played this chaotic style so well, and they've got so much damage on their mid laner now, look across the board. Look at Ruler on the AD carry position for Gen.G. This is normally the guy that they're depending on to have the big carry performances. Look at his inventory. Hex Drinker, Guardian Angel. These are not massive DPS items, and it's going to be very hard to get through an Ornn and an Alistar if that's what you're supposed to do.
He might get a red buff, but I take your point especially. Only people he's hitting is going to be Ornn and the Nocturne, maybe Alistar. And Ornn is pretty damn healthy and has the armor. There's no Infinity Edge, there's no Last Whisper. We're a long way away from damage. This is the sort of build Ruler needed when it was a Vladimir bot lane meta. He just needed to survive. It's not going to help them if they actually get that 5v5.
Now Vitality get push in all lanes. They can go in and kill all the control wards that were placed just before by Gen.G. Now it's Vitality having this setup near the Baron itself. And with the amount of engage on their side, if they start the objective and Gen.G have to start moving towards them, there's a high chance someone will split up and then Kikis can go for that one target.
Well, let's see if Vitality know how to play this right. You already pointed out their Baron control as a weakness of the team.
They just need to get the fight, and they have so many ways to start it, and they should be fine.
And they also have so much control on the side lanes from the fact that Jiizuke doesn't need to be there when they start the control around the Baron. They can make this smart play and force Gen.G into a lose-lose situation with how they use Jiizuke. He's coming back. He's been full build for a while now. Watching Gen.G just push through mid lane and try to recontrol Baron.
Worth pointing out, both top laners with their Summoner spellbooks don't have teleports right now. It's exhaust for both, and even the Ignite for CuVee, making sure he brings maximum combat power into this next altercation as Jactroll goes in. He's able to find the knock-up down onto Ruler, getting himself back now. Kikis drops Paranoia, but does not decide to dive in with it wisely.
They got the ulti of CoreJJ right there, but Jactroll had to use his as well. And the same thing for Kikis, so no Nocturne ult. He's not very useful in the next fight. They really need that big cooldown. And now it's Gen.G with control of mid, and therefore Baron.
They've got priority over the pit. They'll walk themselves back up here, look to sweep things out. They've set down control wards as well. Trying to maybe set up a trap brush here. Attila fires off the Void Seeker, not gonna find anyone there. As Gen.G will move into the pit, clear out any vision, and just keep it safe.
The good thing for Vitality is Gen.G have very poor Baron damage. They do it very, very slowly, so they don't have to make any fast moves, even if Gen.G have largely controlled the pit for the last couple of minutes.
But now we need to see if they actually start it, because Vitality have no vision around it. They're actually coming in behind it. They expect it to start it. Nice arrow!
Coming here, it's Jiizuke, but he's got enough! He's killed before he's able to chrono break. That is huge for Gen.G.
Insane arrow right there. Perfect timing, and it's because Vitality have no vision at Baron, so they're TPing because they think it's being started. The Fed mid laner is dead.
The biggest threat on Vitality is out of the picture. They have to stop Gen.G here. Ruler, Crown, both big damage threats on the side of the defending world champions. Alive and ready to go. Kikis behind the pit, wants to go for the steal. The cast to try to knock Attila away. Here comes Cabochard's ulti. Kikis still gonna be over the wall, pops the paranoia, thinking about going in. CuVee getting himself back. Baron still at 3K. Cabochard goes into the pit. Jactroll and Attila gonna be left alone. They come down. Vitality has the Baron, but can they get themselves away? Flashing over the wall now to escape. Jactroll will be the sacrifice. They'll take him down, but Baron goes the way of Vitality. 4v5.
Gen.G never wanted to finish that Baron, but it was double smite. Cabochard took it again, and they burst it out of a higher range than Gen.G respected. Attila's behind enemy lines. Hard to see him getting away.
Attila will try to waste as much of their time as he can, pushing up the minions here in the bottom lane, trying to make the outplay happen. Goes in Viz, but it's gonna be a few more seconds. Killer Instinct into Flash. It looks so damn cool, but it means so damn little. Attila taken down as the tongue comes out and the damage goes through.
And it's hard to blame him for trying to flash away right there after he made some nice jukes, but it means in the end, he had to blow the flash and he still died. CoreJJ flashed after him to finish him, but man, there's not a lot of teams who will go for these kind of plays, but Vitality 4 versus 5 are still doing it.
So watch the Baron health, 2900, not burst range. Cabochard has smite here for double smite level 18 and level 16. Gen.G realized they have to actually contest this. They can't turn around. So it's smartly done by Vitality. They still have their summoners. They can still get out of the pit. There may be some consolation kills, but this was as perfect as possible. The 20,000 gold, 700 AP Ekko was a non-factor, and they still don't claim the Baron, the Gen.G.
I just love the fact that we end day one of group stages with such an epic game between Vitality and the defending world champions Gen.G. We have seen so many aggressive plays. We've seen defensive moves from Gen.G to try and stay in the game. They've managed to win the last few team fights they needed to win to delay Vitality, and we're still at a situation where the team fights can honestly go both ways.
Want to point out, after that, after having 10 pages ripped out of his Soul Stealer, Jiizuke has now sold the Medjais, picked up a Banshee's Veil instead.
He doesn't want to get arrowed again.
So he's like, all right, that was stupid. We're not doing that again. Back
Rich
play.
people get all the breaks. They have their book, doesn't matter. I'll buy another one, even better than the first. He walks up. You've got to say, though, Deficio, even though Gen.G have miraculously got to 40 minutes, didn't look like it would get that long, you still have Ekko and Kai'Sa full build, and you look at the enemy threats with immobile threats versus mobile and potentially outscale threats like the Kai'Sa. If Vitality, they may not be as good as Gen.G in a late game fight. I think they got bigger guns to try to make one go.
Yeah, look at Ruler again. Has completed the Hexdrinker into Maw of Malmortius now, but that's also not a huge damage item. We have stored an inventory for the final item, so it's going to be more damage, but there's no armor penetration on this Ashe.
Needs the Infinity Edge to at least have some semblance of a build, and also the Zeke's Convergence is so necessary. None available on Vitality. The one on CoreJJ needs to be on point.
Gotta remember, top inhib is open, but there's no TP on Jiizuke right now. So it is a bit risky if he goes towards it while the rest of the team is sitting on the bottom side. But Vitality, again, trying to split up. Ashe Arrow can be very effective against no QSS on the side of Vitality. Can Ruler actually hit it?
20 seconds left on this Baron. Vitality won't find too much with that one. They'll send Jiizuke back into the top side, continuing to push up towards that exposed inhibitor as the rest of everyone falls back. Not too much more pushing to be done by this team. Yeah, you got Baron, but considering the consequence, rather the circumstance, I should say, of getting it and the consequences of picking that up, losing both your support and your AD carry right as you grab it, they didn't have as much time to work with as they would have liked, so Gen.G will continue to hold on to their base intact.
And a lot of the easy objectives for the Ekko to Swift push are now down, so it's a lot harder to actually find a map state where you have your waves in the right position to set up for an objective like the Elder in 1 minute 30, and also be threatening with Jiizuke. About another 40 seconds to his teleport's online, maybe a minute now with the nerfs. We're just looking at Vitality's setup here for this Elder Drag.
Small little thing that Kikis did there, he actually delayed killing the Rift Scuttler for as long as possible because he wanted to stay up for really, really long in case a fight breaks out around the Elder Drake and we're gonna get a dance between the two teams. So he just wanted to get the maximum amount of uptime.
There's a lane ward here that spots Gen.G's positioning, very important for Nocturne when he's choosing his opponent. Poking around, if they can get the Banshee Veil from Crown, could be the go button for Vitality.
Remember, Crown does have that hourglass, does have to remember to use it. We've seen that be a problem for him already this game in the top lane when Jiizuke found the kill earlier. But Gen.G feels like they've got enough control over the game right now to push forward. They feel safe, grouped up as 5. But Jiizuke's hanging around behind these guys.
Don't know his position.
Ward gonna be revealed. Jiizuke still getting himself away. Not too worried about it. Does have Banshee's Veil available. Remember, after that last pickup that Gen.G got onto him, he doesn't want to be found out like that again as the dance continues.
But we know that Vitality have to go through so many things to actually kill the carry. Hourglass on Syndra, GA on Ashe, plus Tahm Kench to try and save one of them with Devour. There is a world where if you are Vitality, what you're actually doing with their Nocturne ulti and the Echoes, you're just zoning the backline while you're killing the front line with your Kai'Sa.
True hybrid Kai'Sa coming out, by the way. Infinity Edge with Nashor's Tooth, Ginsu's Rageblade, Mercurial Scimitar, Runeon's Hurricane, full build on this amazing late game hyper carry. Vitality will melt health bars on Gen.G.
Oh, he's TPing for the base!
TP coming in from Jiizuke into top side saying, all right, defend Elder, I'm going for the inhibitor.
Don't know if only one man can handle Jiizuke, but Gen.G still walking out on this Baron. CuVee goes back.
This is where Gen.G have to make the decisive call. Do you stay for Elder? Do you stop the inhib take? What is the decision here? Ruler stepping forward, gonna draw the aggro from the Elder Drake. Top side, Jiizuke is going to be stopped by CuVee potentially, but the inhibitor's still taken down, and Jiizuke gets himself away. It's 4v4 in this bottom part of the map. TP available for CuVee to join in.
Attila, they're gonna try to finish the game.
They're still looking to make things happen. It's Attila going into the base. Vitality has to buy time. That's the call. CuVee has to try to defend this on his own. Jiizuke will not be taken down. The shutdown goes through. Vitality's looking to end it. They're pushing Nexus turret number 2.
Let's
they
go,
can't
boys.
get back in time. Gen.G is rushing to Nexus, but Vitality will take them down. Europe 2-0 against Korea.
That was an insane ending there, but you need to be decisive in the big moments, and the second teleport was actually having their cake and eating it too. Vitality, we said they could be the wild card in the group. They certainly live up to their name on the first time.
People ask me, Captain Flowers, how do I get good at League of Legends? And I tell them, follow your heart. Pick the Heimerdinger, pick the Ekko, play your game. Forget the meta, forget what everybody else says to do, play your game. God bless it, that was amazing from Vitality.
And it's just this team, first game on the big stage, and they're not scared. They go for this play. First, it's just the Ekko. They realize, hey, it's only Urgot back to defend. Attila TP's in. And fun fact, we actually saw this kind of play in the EOLCS when Schalke did it. TP'd into the backline, into the base, killed the Nexus. Vitality, they saw that play, they're like, hey, we can do exactly the same.
And Vitality saw the same rumors about their performance in scrims, their struggles since they got over to Korea. And some people in their position end up just fighting for a participation medal. We made it to Worlds, we've done our work. They were not looking for participation. They are looking to make an impact. And their standing in this group reads 1-0. No one can take that away.
And when we looked at their day one games, and we said, okay, where could the potential upset really happen?
Yeah.
We looked at this game specifically. Gen.G, not exactly known to be super fast starters when it comes to international tournaments, and Vitality will be a team they do not really have any practice against. They don't know 100% how they're going to play. And Vitality, they did deliver. Slightly different style, but we still got some of the old elements, and we got a lot of fights.
But maybe you excuse it and say, first game, it's Gen.G, they'll get there. They have RNG tomorrow. And 0-2 is a hole to dig yourself out of, whatever the remaining games hold.
And I'm just impressed with Vitality, this team that is so known. Early game, early game, early game, early game. Go aggro, go deep, search for blood. Barons are sketchy, late game is sketchy, early game, early game, early game. And they pick a late game AD carry. They pick a scaling mid laner. They take a Baron after getting a good fight. They use the summoner spellbook, excuse me, Smite, to grab Baron not once, but twice. This is a team that just came in and blew my mind, and hopefully the viewers as
baby,
well.
man,
The euphoria is alive, and to wrap things up and break down the day, let's send it over for the World's Cooldown.
Thank you very much, Captain Flowers. Welcome to the World's Cooldown, where we break down day one of groups and look forward to tomorrow's matches. But Vitality,
I don't know
what just happened?
why Deficio and Vedius are stressed all the time. This EU thing, this feels great right now.
You're loving that move.
Oh, yeah.
Loving that
Grass
move.
much greener.
Spot, help me out here. This was so unexpected.
I don't got much for you, to be honest, because when we were talking about this game, we were saying, you know what, if they throw that first punch, if they pick the early game snowball, they can start something happening. When you're ahead, anything is possible in League of Legends. And they say, you know what, we're fine getting to level 9, this is okay, we're going to scale. And then it isn't actually individual mechanics, although there were a lot of individual mechanics on display. It was actually late game creative shot calling that won Vitality this game. So, I mean, just they're ticking every box at the moment.
I do want to give massive credit, though, to that super creative composition. As we take a look at this end game, Jiizuke, I had some questions. I was like, you know that this guy has a huge ceiling, but I haven't really seen him reach it again. I feel like he was in a little bit of a hole. This game played like an absolute god. Some of his 1v1 outplays, particularly that Syndra flash, making the creative call that Jake is talking about right now to also pull Attila for the double TP, just out of world.
And we criticized TL at the top of the show, just to juxtapose.
Yeah.
They played okay, but they didn't make any of their own plays. They were kind of on the back foot. This is a team that played not great in Windows, but in other Windows, just made their play through the, the game-winning play multiple times. And they were just able to continually, try and dance around and look for positioning and took the opportunities.
Misfits, Gigabyte Marines. These are all teams in the past that have done exactly that have honed in on their style, the way that they want to play. They commit to plays and fully commit as a team of 5.
That's a great example of a team fight. We just saw it there. We see an Ornn ulti thrown for the flashes. It just misses everyone. If you miss Ornn ultimate altogether, you're like, that's not a team fight we can win. But time and time again, they go for it. Another great play. We're overextending. We're fighting the whole time underneath the turret. This is an additional man. Remember, turret teed up. It doesn't reset anymore.
This fight
Everyone's
took like
just
2
taking
minutes.
turret aggro, and they're just still going for it.
But what's great is how they break down these team fights. The fact is that Gen.G, they're such a great team fighting team, but they're a very controlled team fighting team. When Vitality did finally overreach kind of into the pocket and try to dive too deep on that mid lane tower, Gen.G bit back so hard. But when you are constantly having 4v5s, 3v4s, because there's such a far reach with the mobility, I think the composition was super creative to always deny a true 5v5.
You saw a few of those moments there, right, for Gen.G. When they are grouped, when they're allowed to group as 5 and make the decision, it almost always works out in their favor.
Well, that's the thing. This wasn't a perfect game. I'm not sitting here trying to sell you the fact that, Vitality is playing clean, crisp, well thought out, like big brain League of Legends. They're just looking at opportunities and saying, can we make a play right now?
Yeah.
And when the answer is yes, they just go for it. Some of them backfired. We just saw a guy teleport onto a ward, get killed instantly, nearly cost his team Baron. But ultimately, that's not how the game worked out.
We can come back and talk about this a bit more on the other side, but to hear more about the first victory at Worlds for Vitality, let's hand it off to Avali and the mid laner.
Thanks, guys. I am here with the Italian stallion Vitality's Jiizuke. Congratulations on that win. You had the Baron steal, you had the backdoor, and then you beat the world champions. What was going through your head during that game-ending moment, and how were you able to pull it off?
I think we did many mistakes in early game, but then with some team fights, we came back. And then we were just winning every fight and going ahead, but then we got stuck. We couldn't win anymore for some reason. We stopped making plays and stuff. So we are like, hey, me and Kikis are saying, there is a wave top. I think we should TP there, and then the game, they will go Elder. And we just did it, and it worked out. I'm happy.
predicted it and it worked out, but I want to kind of point to your Ekko pick because that's kind of a comfort pick for you. And earlier today, they didn't ban Heimer against Yarnan, and G2 ended up picking up the win. So what's up with these teams not banning or doing their research on EU comfort picks, and when do you think they're going to wise up?
I think it's pretty normal for Koreans to this respect. Like in scrims as well, I don't know, maybe there is a confident pick that someone has, but they want to keep trying to play into it and just see if it's good or not. So I'm not surprised that they didn't ban it. Maybe I had 1 game or 2 games in EU, so maybe they thought that I don't play it really much, but I guess they were wrong.
Now, people have been nicknaming your group the group of death. Is it because RNG and Gen.G are in it? Or do you think it's because you guys are now in that group?
I guess we will see. It's definitely another group. RNG just won everything this year. Gen.G are board champions. They actually made a song about a mission. I thought if he ganked me today on mid, the Rise song will come up. Just Rise, you know? Yeah, it's our group, and we'll try our best to get out.
Jiizuke, thank you and congratulations again on the win. That's it for us here. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Avali. Group B, a very interesting group in that we called it the group of death. The idea that the 1-2 were predetermined.
Yep.
Cloud9, Vitality, yes, Cloud9 got knocked down against RNG, but this huge win for Vitality, it shakes the group up, right? But I do want to turn to you, Frost, around the point of, does this mean that we lose all faith in Korea, as a region for having that loss here on day 1?
Oh, yeah, of course, Dashburn. Everything's down.
It's over.
Korea yeah. 2 losses. No one is going to say that Korea aren't still heavy favorites.
Yeah.
KT is still looking great. I think it is very interesting that I feel like Afrika and Gen.G lost in similar ways in terms of the criticism being that they weren't proactive. When they finally did take things into their own hands, when Afrika and Gen.G decided to play the aggressive side and make a play, it was so cleanly executed. But perhaps we are starting to see this idea where when the LCK teams do want to play a bit slower, when they're forced and they're a bit rushed, that they're not quite as confident shooting from the hip as we would have expected. And that said, Griffin, not here. This is Gen.G. This is Afrika. Maybe very different temperaments. Maybe they take a bit more time to ramp up. That is usually the case for LCK teams. But it is an interesting possible heel that other teams could look at in terms of a blueprint to try to force more errors.
I think for Afrika's sake, you can also say, in Korea World Championship first day, nerves. I guarantee that they're feeling the heat right now because there is a lot of expectations on the entire region, not just KT. But I think that on Gen.G's side, I had a little bit higher expectations in saying that they do warm into tournaments. They haven't played for a while. And once again, as Jiizuke said, maybe they were a little bit disrespectful in terms of pocket picks. All I know off the back end of this stage is that Jiizuke has made me like a lifelong fan. That interview even afterwards, he's the right level of I am humble, but I'll also take my shots when they're there. And that was just a great representation of that.
He had multiple mechanical outplays in his first game here on the world stage against some of the best players in the world. That is absolutely insane to be able to say. We've touched on a number of the teams already, but Spawn, you were the analyst at the top of the day that said you would take the field over RNG or KT to win it all. Interestingly enough, a few of the names that you had topping the field were the ones that actually fell today. But how does basically your assessment of the field develop at the end of day 1?
Well, the best thing about the field is they're now beating the field. So instead of crossing names off, I'm just adding names in there. All of a sudden, I got FLICKR, I got Gen.G, I got the Flash Wolves, they're performing great. I can add G2 in there now. I can add Vitality. These are legitimate field picks that you need to be worried about, Frostger. And I think, it's just day number 1. And this is what's exciting about Worlds, is you have to now take that, and if it gets banned away, show something else. Or if they give it to you again, you have to be able to once again play that to the same high level, because all of these teams, they're within 5-10% of each other. They're going to bring it every single time. And for Gen.G, for the Afrikas, they also have to go away from this and say, what do we do wrong? And they're going to make it right in a day turnaround. And that's a difficult skill for coaching staff, for players to say, you know what, guys, deep breath. We've done this all year long. Let's just continue it. Sure, it is the final test of the year, but let's not lose our heads and overreact to this.
And then ultimately, I kind of have the same, question to be begging as we go closer through this group stage. When Afrika fell down, if one of the LCK seeds is the second seed out of groups, the possibility of running into another LCK team in something like the quarterfinals, again, maybe we don't have an LCK versus LCK final this year simply because they just knock each other out because of these group stage missteps.
And I'm telling you, even after today's performance, you ask RNG and KT who they don't want to play, like top 3 teams in quarterfinals. A FLICKR will still be in that, I don't want to get a FLICKR in a best of 5 because they just do some crazy stuff and they flip the map on a lot of teams. A lot of teams have great AD carries. Not many teams can boast a player like Keen in the top lane, and they are still terrifying.
One of the most interesting things, in my opinion, when it comes to the group stage is this point you're talking about. Off of day one, off of the upsets, the unexpected victories, or the matchups that don't go the way that maybe scrim results had suggested they would, how teams react to that. You've now seen Jiizuke's Ekko in that mid lane. You've seen, how comfortable he is on the pick, how much he's willing to play make on that pick. What do you choose to do now as a team going forward when you go up against Vitality? Are you going to throw a ban at that every single time?
You always have to stick to your game. This is what not scrimming your own group and scrimming everyone else does. It creates weird metas, especially if teams are only scrimming their region. So I think, this is one of those times where you have to say, they're going to give us something new every time. We just have to play what we're comfortable in, and you hope that you're a classy enough team that you win enough games to get out.
I would say I do have more faith and confidence that Vitality would be able to continue to reach for not necessarily just pocket picks, but just very strange picks that might catch teams off guard. And then the list gets very long about who you're banning versus someone like G2. That said, we've already seen RNG throw the respect ban to the Draven for Cloud9, worked very effectively for them. So maybe that's just the gear shift that the LCK teams or all of the teams in the tournament start taking.
Because the big question is, like, the Ekko in particular, I wouldn't ban because you got things like Fizz that do the same thing in the mid lane. Heimerdinger kind of just, only Heimerdinger kind of does what Heimerdinger is. You can make an exception for maybe Vel'Koz, can do similar things in the bottom lane, keep pushing you in, keep annoying you. Can't play it in the playing stage. But Heimer really is niche in what he brings to a team.
That, I think, is an interesting distinction when you look at the G2 win versus the Vitality win, is that G2 did it with this Heimerdinger pick, and that seems like it's a very narrow win condition, is, we need to secure this pick. I'm not saying that's the only reason they won. They actually played the matchup pretty well from a macro sense, but Vitality's win felt a little bit more like they could recreate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was also in the cross-map play for both G2 as well as Vitality, and when you beat a LCK team, you never expect it to be on a macro or cross-map level. You expect that some sort of snowball or a weird pick or things just got really out of hand and the games were closed early. But the fact that Vitality were comfortable going into a late game, that they were able to play with the teleports, the same thing that G2 did, making the TP with the top lane Heimer, it's just a play style and a strength of Europe that we didn't expect to see them outclass LCK on day one.
And I think more impressive, both of them got slowed down at a certain point. Wonder did have to go to the bottom lane for an extended period of time. Even after he took the first inhibitor, we saw him back away, didn't want to push him for that late game situation. In this game, we saw Jiizuke go for a teleport play, die, have to slow the tempo of the game down. But the impressive thing was they kept their head, they reevaluated the situation, and they re-accelerated the game at the correct time. And I think that is the difference between, potentially these teams winning those games versus teams previously going late game versus the LCK against Korea and dropping those games, was the ability to stick to the game plan, still throw the curve.
Composure on the world stage cannot be understated. Though we are just getting started, let's go ahead and take a look at the current group rankings. In Group A, Flash Wolves and G2 end the day at 1-0, with Group B led by Gen.G and Vitality, and Group C is topped with Edward Gaming and KT Rolster. Of course, we haven't seen Group D play yet. They will start their games tomorrow. Realizing we've had a number of discussions already about the results, the fact that Korea went 1-2 on the day is going to be surprising. For the West, to see Europe pick up 2 of those victories, that's a big boost to the confidence, of course, Cloud9 and Team Liquid. We're going to look for them to follow suit. Maybe what lessons do they take from the victories that they saw?
Who's the scariest team at Worlds at the moment? Is it RNG?
Yes.
Okay, so apart from RNG, who else really impressed you today? Was it Flash Wolves or KT?
Flash Wolves.
Yeah, because I think relative power-wise, obviously very hard cross groups, and it's going to get more interesting as the day goes on. But I thought Flash Wolves kind of proved it was their meta today, and I think that's the other big takeaway. I didn't talk about them when I talk about the field, but I think if Flash Wolves can continue to dictate that meta in all of their games, teams will very much have to start taking a look at the LMS's first seed, because they have had a very impressive year.
I think it's a very different feel, though, if you will, or kind of instinct when you look at these teams. Like Flash Wolves, they almost look like they were toying with their food, that they were having a lot of fun. You look at their player cams, they're smiling, they're laughing, they're doing the Flash Wolves thing. KT, they never felt that they were pushed. They always felt like they were in control. They were just very calm, collected, cold-blooded killers is what they really look like. So I just prefer the Flash Wolves style. You know, it's a little bit closer to the LPL, a little bit closer to what I'm used to, but KT also looked very terrifying.
Yeah, I was going to say, to me, yes, the Flash Wolves game felt more dominant. It was quite obviously so in a lot of ways, but I don't feel like KT needed to play any more dominantly, if that makes sense. Like, the KT got the job done, which is in a lot of ways what I do expect of a top-tier team, is to come in and do what is needed and to not necessarily do more, especially when you have the longevity, you have this very long tournament ahead of you.
And they're a very experienced team. It's just interesting to see what it's going to take for someone else to join the S-tier teams.
Yeah.
Because we've currently got 2 S-tier teams. And as this progresses, you know, Flash Wolves is, at the moment, probably that front runner to join the S-tier teams and prove that, you know, quarterfinals, semifinals, you don't want to get them either.
6 games in the books for the group stage. Let's take a look at who were Busan's first MasterCard players of the game. It was KT's Yukao, EDG's iBoy, Flash Wolves' Mujin, G2 Wonder, RNG's Uzi, and Vitality's Jiizuke.
And the thing is probably the most standout players for me were Uzi and Jiizuke. And maybe that's, you know, recency bias. We just saw them, but I just felt that we had incredible performance from all of these players today. It's obviously why there are MasterCard players in the game. But those 2 in particular just went above and beyond even what we expected from them.
But they are kind of the stars. The 2 players that I actually want to point out are going to be Yukao and Mujin, because they're 2 players that Yukao was supposed to be the worst player in his lineup, came out, had a dominating performance against Pobelter, and then Mujin really followed suit after Sword Art and was exactly where Sword Art needed him to go. Obviously, Sword Art being the shot caller of the team makes it very easy. You just listen to the guy show up. But so many times junglers aren't able to execute upon that. And I think that he also had a standout performance.
Yeah, I do think, too, you got to look at Wonder. If, you know, we are to take World's Top 20 rankings into account, this idea that you've got the best top laner in the tournament up against Wonder, yes, it is a tank versus carry matchup, and who knows what would happen if you swap the roles. But for Wonder to come out on top in that one, to create that kind of pressure and ultimately the situation for G2 to win, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, 4th place on that list. Like, let me just tell you, I put Clear Love there 2 years ago. It's not pretty being for 4th place on the top 20.
Anything but 4th.
Yeah, you want to be like 6th over the 4th place at this stage. But I agree with you. And Sion is supposed to deal with the carries very well in the early game, and Wonder was still able to build the lead. So hats off to him. The impressive thing about Wonder was he didn't change his style between play-ins and Worlds, and he was playing with nameplates off. He was just playing the matchup well, playing calmly, even after the early game went a little bit rough for him and Jankos up there in the top lane. So I think that is an impressive, you know, mature way to approach the game.
Well, 6 more games tomorrow, and it kicks off with Flash Wolves and a Freak of Freaks facing off for the very first time. With the introduction of Group D later in the day, starting with a clash between 100 Thieves and Fnatic, followed by Invictus Gaming versus G-Rex, and 3 more matches before we call it a day. So, of course, we will get a better sense of competition after day 2. We've got a lot of East versus East and West versus West matchups, but in particular, of these 6, I want to know from you guys what you're interested in seeing.
I mean, do you want to take the softball one, or am I going to grab it?
You can go for it if you want.
Okay, Gen.G versus RNG.
6th game of the day. That closer is going to be nuts.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is that we hope that Gen.G will show back up, but these 2 teams have a long-standing history with each other. They constantly seem to find each other in the group stage. This is very possibly a look at a finals, really.
Yes, because if they go 1st and 2nd, they split up. Then if they run their side of the brackets, it could be, you know, the world final. However, if this is how good Vitality is, if this is how good G2 is, imagine what their 1st seed's going to do. Fnatic, like, just absolute monsters in their own region. They're going up against 100 Thieves, who a lot of people think might be the proverbial punching bag of this World's tournament. So that could be an explosive game if Fnatic bring their A.
G2 were supposed to be the punching bag, and they just, like, sucker punch back.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you underestimate a punching bag, I guess.
Hey, man, like we said at the top of the day, it's World's group stage, anything can happen, and that's exactly what did happen today. But that's going to do it for day 1. We'll be back here tomorrow for day 2. So for myself, the cast of the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for more of Worlds 2018.
Welcome to the world, no heroes, villains. Welcome to the world, no heroes, villains.
Are you ready?
As Caster June said, welcome to Summoner's Rift. It's KT Rolster taking on Team Liquid. Right, there's no flash on Double Lift. He's got around 300 hit points. There's the flash to play. Knock-up used onto Mata. Teleport coming down. Mata's still a focus. Manages to go down. Double Lift gets a 2nd kill. Forward from Yukao onto Pobelter. Manages to get the stun. Here comes Score as well. Pobelter starts to channel around one. Gets out, but the bird is not enough. Next move, he gets chunked down. Let somebody heal. Keeps him alive a few seconds longer. Long range death sentence connects up to him. impact, and look at the lantern! KT Rolster take down Team Liquid for their first win at Worlds 2018. Big Cora flashes forward, blows up the AD carry for Fengbu Buffalo. Betty gets himself a kill onto Pallet. Next turn, number 2 falls. The Flash Wolves are making a statement. Absolutely destroy Fengbu Buffalo. Till jump puts Uniboy exactly where Haru wants him. But he decides not to go for the kill. Haru's caught out.
Oh, way back. Oh, he's not done yet. Boom.
The flash. Eyeboy. What? Uniboy gets burst down and blown up by Eyeboy. The call of the fourth shot comes out. That's a double already as EDG are looking for the advantage. And Edward Gaming take down Mad Team.
Stay cool. Make sure that you slow down time. Don't let your mind get lost.
Attila going to be taken down. Proud with the damage on that one. CuVee grabbing the kill onto Jactroll into the follow-up fear. And Gen.G is destroying Vitality. Vitality in retreat now. CuVee on the far line looking to find a kill. But Jiizuke, the man with the plan, has the shutdown.
Stop this guy. Keep pushing, keep pushing. End it. Keep pushing. I'm stopping this guy. Keep pushing.
The tag here.
Keep pushing. Yonai!
Vitality will take them down. They need this Urgot to be so far ahead because bottom lane just keeps. And now Uzi's got himself his second kill of the game. Heroic entrance still looking to keep Uzi alive. They take down Zeyzal, and RNG hasn't lost a man. Also down critical HP, but Licorice has been shut down. That one's going to be big for RNG, and with Zeyzal also out, this could very well be the end of the game.
FLICKR, what are you doing?
Still putting in work on the enemy base. Spirit's going to be taken down to half HP. Stun coming in from the grenade. Spirit is deleted. Turret falls at the Nexus. Afrika, you've got to answer. Kramer's nearly going to be taken down. Take a drink. Yanko's goes on a killing spree. Team's nearly going to be taken down. Tries to get the slam, but he digs his own grave instead. G2 will take down